Writing. The galaxy called it the union of species, a peace forged not by treaties but by marriage. After a century of war that left stars shattered and planets hollowed out, the Galactic Council decreed a new kind of diplomacy. Every species' heir would marry into another, creating bonds of blood and heritage that would prevent future war. Love, or the appearance of it, would become the galaxy's final defense. It was a cold, brilliant idea, mathematically perfect. And then humanity was invited to join. The marriage pact. Captain Elias Korran stood under the shimmering canopy of the celestial hall, the air thick with scentless mist that bent light like glass. Around him stood representatives from 47 species: avian, crystalline, aquatic, fungal, even gaseous. Each had sent a noble heir to wed a counterpart from another world. And every one of those heirs had chosen peace. They picked calm partners, compliant, predictable, politically safe. Alliances meant to be unshakable, uncontroversial. Every species wanted a future without risk. Except one man. Elias, the first and only human ambassador invited to the Pact, had been offered dozens of potential matches. Gentle diplomats from the Siltari, empathic dreamwalkers from the Viren, or the serene telepaths of the Lycian order. All perfect, all peaceful. But he refused them all, because he had already chosen someone else. Tuth, the Chaos Bride. Her name was Zhara Vey. She was a daughter of the Clerothi Dominion, warriors infamous across the Orion Arm for their ferocity. The Clerothi were not peacekeepers. They were conquerors. In the old wars, her people had burned 6 human colonies before the truce. And Zhara herself was their wildest child. She was not a diplomat. She had never bowed, never spoken politely, never attended a single council session without drawing blood. Her body bore the fractal markings of her people, scars that shimmered with bioluminescent gold when she was angry. Her claws were ceremonial but sharp enough to pierce armor. Her eyes glowed like storms over a dying world. When Elias announced he would marry her, the council chamber fell silent. The Siltari called it madness. The Lycians declared it an insult to the peace. Even the Clerothi delegation laughed, until Zhara herself stepped forward, her voice like thunder. "If this human wishes for chaos," she said, "then he shall have it." And so, the impossible match was sealed. 3. The wedding at the edge of war. The ceremony took place aboard the Dawnspire, a neutral station orbiting the scarred remains of Var 9, a planet destroyed in the last human Clerothi battle. Fitting, Elias thought, that their union would bloom over a graveyard. He wore a simple black formal suit, the kind that once belonged to Earth's old diplomats. Zhara arrived in armor, polished, spiked, and shimmering with gold light. She carried a blade instead of flowers. When they joined hands, her skin was hot, too hot for a human. "Does this frighten you?" she asked. "Only if you stop," he replied. That made her laugh. It wasn't a pleasant sound. It was wild, raw, and beautiful. Like something alive had burst free in a room full of statues. Their vows were witnessed by silent diplomats and recorded by hundreds of alien networks. The peace marriages were supposed to symbolize calm unity. Instead, Elias and Zhara made the galaxy flinch. For the storm that followed. The first months of their marriage were chaos incarnate. Zhara refused to live on the pristine council worlds, calling them cages of soft metal. She dragged Elias across her homeworld's desert moons, hunting with her warpack, sleeping beneath twin suns. She taught him the Clerothi way, to fight until breath failed, to drink the blood of victories, to scream one's truth instead of whispering it. And he taught her, in turn, the human art of restraint, of mercy, of choosing not to strike. Their arguments were legendary. Council observers called them volcanic. Zhara's temper was mythic, her voice shaking metal bulkheads when she was angry. Yet somehow, every fight ended with laughter, or fire, or something far less diplomatic. Rumors spread that the human had lost his mind. But others whispered a different story. That the Clerathi warrior had softened. That she no longer sought conquest, only challenge. That she now called humanity her clan. Peace, it seemed, had taken a strange new form. The crisis. It began 6 months later. The Viren Collective, those telepathic dreamwalkers, accused the Clerathi of violating the treaty by expanding their borders near Viren space. Old tensions flared. Fleets began to move. The council panicked. The other marriages, meant to be bonds of peace, proved useless. No heir dared confront their own governments. No one wanted to risk their fragile unity, except Elias and Zhara. He was called before the council, where delegates demanded he denounce his wife's people. You must choose humanity, they said. You cannot side with chaos. Zhara stood beside him, silent, her claws twitching. Elias looked around the chamber, the same room that had once praised peace but now trembled at the first hint of war. And he said, "No, I choose her." 6th, the break. The declaration sent the chamber into uproar. The Clerathi interpreted his words as loyalty. The humans called it betrayal. The council demanded he step down. His marriage had become a scandal. His loyalty suspect. His motives questioned. He and Zhara left that night in silence. They took refuge aboard a derelict warship, the Aegis Reborn, drifting beyond known space. For weeks they said nothing. Zhara trained in the cargo bay, tearing metal apart to vent her fury. Elias watched the stars, wondering if he had doomed them both. Finally he spoke. "When I said I chose you," he said quietly, "I meant I chose us. The part of you that fights, and the part of me that refuses to stop believing we can be more." She turned to him, eyes dimmed. "You think love can end wars. I think love can change them." She laughed again, but this time there was no mockery in it. 7. Fire and fury. War erupted 2 months later. Viren fleets struck first, launching psychic attacks that drove Clerathi soldiers mad. In retaliation, Clerathi warships unleashed plasma storms that scorched entire moons. The fragile union collapsed in days. The council begged for ceasefire, but no one listened, except Elias and Zhara. The Aegis Reborn roared back to life under their command. A ship crewed by outcasts, half Clerathi, half human, all unwilling to bow. They became a rogue force in the chaos, rescuing civilians, disabling fleets, sabotaging weapons of mass extinction. Both sides branded them traitors. But their legend grew. Zhara led the boarding parties herself, bare-clawed, unstoppable. Elias commanded from the bridge, making impossible calls, saving thousands. Together they became something the galaxy had never seen before. A human and an alien not fighting against each other, but for everyone else. The news feeds called them the Storm and the Flame. The turning point. The final battle came over the gas giant Raylos, 12, where the Viren flagship prepared to unleash a psychic weapon capable of burning every Clerathi mind in the sector. The council fleets were paralyzed, unwilling to choose sides. The Aegis Reborn went in alone. "Elias," Zhara said before they launched, "if we fail, then we fail together," he said. They broke through the Viren defenses, tearing through waves of drones and psychic storms that ripped at their minds. Zhara fought in the corridors like a force of nature. Elias reached the weapon core, hands trembling as he overloaded its systems. When it detonated, it should have consumed them both. But instead, Zhara shielded him with her body, her bioluminescent armor absorbing the blast. She fell, her eyes flickering like dying stars. "Don't you dare," he whispered, holding her. Her breath shuddered. "You humans never stop choosing the impossible." And then she was still. 9. The Legacy of Chaos. The explosion crippled the Viren fleet but saved billions. The psychic weapon was gone. The war ended not with treaties, but with exhaustion. The council was rebuilt in ashes. And in the aftermath, stories spread of a human who married chaos and tamed it not by control, but by love. Zhara's body was never found. Some claimed her kind could not die, only sleep. Others said she had become part of the storm that still howled across Raylos. 12. A living ghost in the clouds. Elias returned to the council years later, older, scarred, and silent. He brought with him a proposal, not for another marriage, but for a new kind of alliance. Not peace through fear, not order through obedience, but balance through understanding. Peace, he told them, isn't the absence of chaos. It's choosing to live with it, and love it anyway. The chamber was silent once more. But this time no one laughed. The Human and the Storm. Decades later, cadets at the Galactic Academy still told the story of the storm and the flame. Of the human who married the wildest alien woman in the galaxy. Of the chaos that became peace. Some said they still saw the Aegis Reborn in the outer systems, running silent, its engines burning blue. Others swore they heard her voice in the static between stars, laughing. And every time humanity was mocked for its recklessness, its defiance, its impossible heart, someone always whispered, "Remember Elias Korran. Remember the man who loved chaos." Because sometimes peace doesn't come from calm. It comes from those brave enough to love the storm.